Have you ever noticed that after a run, the world feels quieter? The problems that felt overwhelming suddenly shrink. Decisions feel lighter. And for a moment, you suddenly realise what truly matters. When you run, whether that's short, long, hard, or easy, the unnecessary begins to fall away. Your to-do list unravels like a loose thread. And even that restless, judgmental voice in your head goes silent. And what you're left with is rhythm. Feet on the ground, heart beating, breath moving in and out. Running strips life down to the essentials. And there's something powerful about silence on a run. At first, you hear everything. Your breath, your footsteps, the world around you. But after a while, the silence becomes more than an absence of noise. It becomes presence. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoics, once wrote, "Silence is the lessons learned from the sufferings of life." Running teaches us that silence isn't emptiness, it's clarity. And philosophers have always spoken about the need to return to the essentials. Plato believed that learning wasn't filling the mind with more, but turning inward to find the truth. And running feels like that. Not an addition, but a subtraction. Not filling your mind, but clearing it. And running to me is sculpture. A sculptor doesn't create by adding more clay, but by chipping away at the excess. Step by step, the unnecessary falls away and the form emerges. Michelangelo said he saw the angel in the marble and he chipped away until he set it free. And running is no different. It chips away at distraction, and what is left is you in the purest form. Philosopher John Vervaeke calls this relevance realization, the ability to see what really matters in a world that is drowning in distraction. Think about it. The average person picks up their phone 300, 400 times a day, maybe even more for the younger generation. That's once every 3 minutes. Noise, endless, irrelevant noise. But when you run, your body forces you to prioritize. Breathing over worrying, movement over distraction, the present moment over endless anxiety. It's not about escaping life's problems. It's about learning which ones are truly worth your energy. And that's why problems always feel smaller after a run, because compared to fatigue, doubt, and distance, the world doesn't stand a chance. And this is why many people call running meditation in motion. It doesn't empty the mind, it refines it. Like tuning an old radio, stripping away the static until you find the right frequency. Marcus Aurelius, the famous Stoic, wrote, "Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary?" And running forces that question. Every step demands economy. Every breath demands presence. Heraclitus said, "Character is destiny," and running shapes that character one step at a time. Because growth is never found in comfort, it's found in fire. And running is a controlled fire that you choose to step into. And here's the real beauty. The run doesn't end when it ends. When you return, the world feels quieter. Decisions feel lighter. That argument that deadline, that worry feels smaller. Epictetus, the Stoic, once wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than reality." And running proves this, because out there, when you're stripped to rhythm and breath, you realise most of what weighs you down is imagined. Running shows you what's real: effort, persistence, survival. But running isn't just about clarity. It opens the door to wonder. Every long run is a reminder that meaning shifts, relevance shifts. What mattered yesterday may not matter today. What feels urgent now may vanish tomorrow. And Socrates once said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." And running is a way of examining, not with words, but with movement. With every mile we ask, why does this matter? What remains when everything else falls away? Haruki Murakami once wrote, "I run to seek a void." And in that void, we often find a meaning. And the greatest marathon runner of all time, Eliud Kipchoge, reminds us only the disciplined ones in life are free. Running gives us that discipline, and through it, freedom. And so we come back to rhythm. Feet, breath, heart, over and over. Running doesn't just bring us clarity, it brings us back to the rhythm of life. Inhale, exhale, effort, recovery, struggle, peace. And maybe that rhythm, simple, clear, undeniable, is all we ever need. So do you run to find peace and clarity in your life? Do you run to silence the noise? If you do, I'd love to know down below in the comments. This morning I set out for a run before sunrise. The city was still asleep, the streets were empty. And I began to ask that question again. The question I ask myself quite a lot is, why do we run? Why do millions of us lace up every day and endure running? I guess when we first start running, we're most likely chasing health, progress, and change. Maybe it's fitness, maybe it's weight loss, maybe it's simply the curiosity of what's possible. But somewhere along the way, something shifts. Progress slows, the big breakthroughs fade. And I think at its very core, running asks us to face head on the very things most people try and avoid in their life. And that is discomfort. I think that's why running really matters. Comfort lies. It lulls us into thinking that everything is fine, we're okay here, no need to change. But comfort also makes us fragile. There's something profoundly powerful about choosing to suffer. When we push ourselves into discomfort, something happens. The noise of life fades. Worry, frustration, anxiety, they shrink. The sharpness of physical effort narrows our focus, brings clarity, and strips life down to its simplest form. One step, then another. That's why we search for it. Not for the discomfort itself, but the peace inside the discomfort. The place where your body screams at you to stop. Your mind begs for relief, and everything inside you says quit. And yet when you step into that moment rather than fleeing from it, something extraordinary happens. The obstacle becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." It's the doorway into into transformation is where the illusions are burned off and where you discover just how much more you're capable of. Psychologists tell you that the way we experience pain depends entirely on the story we attach to it. If you see suffering as pointless, it will feel unbearable. But if you see it as the price of growth, as the doorway to progress, it becomes meaningful. Viktor Frankl, who endured some of the most difficult of human experiences, said, "In some way, suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning." And running gives that suffering meaning. Every mile, every hill, every finishing line is proof that you can endure much more than you thought was possible. And if you've ever pushed yourself, whether it's a brutal 5K, those last few steps of a marathon or an ultramarathon, if you pushed yourself to exhaustion, you know this place. The mind goes quiet. The ego goes, and you hit rock bottom. It's where the truth sits, waiting. And every time we visit it, we discover something new about ourselves. And running is a safe, controlled place to hit that rock bottom, to willingly walk into the pain cave, to let exhaustion strip away everything that is false. And on the other side, we emerge stronger, clearer, and more alive. We don't crave or seek pain. We crave what lies beyond it. Resilience, peace, transformation. And running gives us access to that. It allows us to get closer to that. Watch any marathon and you'll see from the elites to the first-time marathons, when they cross that finishing line, they are in some way transformed. Every single runner who crosses that finishing line in some way is a different person, even if it's only for a brief moment. And you don't have to look far to see that seeking discomfort has always been known to be the path to progress. Some of the greatest philosophers and the greatest wisdom has always shown that the struggle has always been our teacher. Seneca, another Stoic, reminded us that fire tests gold just as adversity tests the strong. Nietzsche told us to embrace hardship because what does not kill us makes us stronger. Aristotle, the famous Greek philosopher, said that excellence is formed in habit and it's proven only under pressure. Another Greek philosopher, Heraclitus, wrote that the struggle is the father of all things, that tension gives birth to progress. And Simone Weil, the modern day mystic, said that only by consenting to difficulty do we truly touch the depths of our soul. And even our modern cliches, no pain, no gain, get comfortable with the uncomfortable, carry fragments of this timeless wisdom. And running is how we live it, willingly stepping into discomfort, because we know that through discomfort comes growth, and through that struggle comes transcendence. The Stoic philosopher Seneca urged us to rehearse adversity, to sleep on the floor, eat the simplest foods, wear rough clothing, and then ask yourself, is that what I feared? And running is our rehearsal. It's hardship that we willingly choose. So when we run in the rain, when we grind up those miles, and when we push through those last few painful miles of a marathon, we are training for life itself, because life will test us. Illness, loss, failure, disappointment. And the only really way to be ready is to practice hardship before it comes. And every mile on tired legs is exactly that, practice. But running does more than train the body. It strips away the ego. At the start of a race, our ego is right beside us. The times we want, the image we project, the labels that we carry. But as that fatigue sets in, the exhaustion takes grip, that ego just slips away. And that's what running does. When you're gasping for breath, when your heart is pounding, there's no room for labels or illusions. And all that's left is the true reality of the raw you. But running isn't always suffering. Most days it's rhythm, it's joy, it's peace. The steady pounding of footsteps, the cycle of breath, it becomes a moving meditation. And in those moments, the world gets quieter and the endless noise of modern life just fades away, and you become fully present, connected to your body. And for the Stoics, the present was everything. Confine yourself to the present, Marcus Aurelius wrote. And running is one of the purest ways to do that.
So what is it that draws runners to discomfort? I guess the answer lies somewhere in between trying to discover or find themselves and trying to lose part of themselves.
It's hardship that we chase, crave, and choose. Ego stripped away. It's the obstacle becoming the way. Discovery, surrender, and transformation. It's a rehearsal for those testing moments in life that will come. And maybe it's training us not to be just better runners, but better human beings. Stronger, wiser, with more humility. So why do you run? Is it to discover yourself, or is it for you to lose yourself? I'd love to know down below in the comments. There's a moment in every run when the noise of the world starts to fade. The traffic, the messages, the thoughts, all of it slowly dissolves until you're left with something rare: stillness. Not silence in the absence of sound, but silence in the presence of peace. Maybe you think that running is about how far, how fast, how strong, but somewhere along the way, you'll probably realise it's not the body that's moving forward, it's the mind. Because out here, each step becomes a question, and each breath an answer. And somewhere in between them both, you start to see yourself more clearly. We live in a world of constant motion, endless information, everybody talking, everyone chasing. But running really slows that chase until it strips everything away, until what's left is who you truly are. You, the road, and the sound of your breath. Philosopher Soren Kierkegaard once wrote, "I have walked myself into my best thoughts, and I know of no thoughts that are so burdensome that I cannot walk away from it." And that's it, isn't it? We run not to escape life, but maybe to make sense of it, to let our thoughts loosen their grip until clarity begins to form from the blur. The first few kilometres of a run are noisy. Your body complains, your mind argues. But if you keep going past the chatter, past the persistence, you'll feel the shift. It's subtle, it's a click, a moment when the noise turns into rhythm, when what was once effort becomes the flow. And that's the door, that's where the silence lives. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Maybe this act of running is how we find our way back there. Because every run, in its own way, is a return to what's real, what's raw, what's really you. And in that silence, the mind stops fighting. The thoughts that once seemed urgent now seem so much smaller. You begin to see life from a different height, the kind of perspective that only comes when you've worked for it. One step, one breath, 1 mile at a time. There's a strange truth about running, because the more you give, the more it gives back. It asks you to dig deep from the parts of yourself that you usually run away from. But it also rewards you with clarity, with peace, with that quiet sense that everything might just be okay. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "All truly great thoughts are conceived while walking." Maybe because motion, real physical motion, grounds us. It connects the mind and body in a way that nothing else can. And it reminds us that we're not separate from the world. We're part of it, moving through it, alive in it. When we run, we enter a kind of meditation. Our breath becomes mantra, our rhythm, prayer. And in a world that constantly demands attention, this quiet moving forward is rebellion. It's choosing focus, it's choosing presence. There are runs that you feel unstoppable, but there are runs that break you. The good ones teach you joy, the hard ones teach you truth. Both of them bring you closer to yourself. Because pain isn't punishment, it's guidance. It's your body's way of saying, you're alive. Lei Tzu said, "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be." And that's what running is. It's a letting go of control, of expectation, of who we think we're supposed to be. And in that surrender, something extraordinary happens. The space to grow. I've run through noisy cities and through silence, through rain, through heat, through pain. And every time I've come back changed. Not because the miles made me stronger, but because the silence showed me who I am when their strength ran out. And that's where the growth lives. Not in comfort, but in the quiet after the storm. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not a master of himself." And maybe freedom isn't about what we can escape, it's about what we can understand. Running doesn't erase the noise of life, it just helps you hear the music beneath it. And out here, on a run, I've learned that silence isn't empty, it's full of lessons, full of answers, full of presence. And when the miles are done and the noise returns, you carry that stillness with you like a flame that doesn't go out. Because beyond the silence, you don't just find peace, you find yourself.